Hey guys, been a little bit. So after ignore everything outside right now, it's Friday. Everybody wants to do a bunch of stuff. I wanted to do funny enough a host video. If I did already say that 10,000 times, Daybreak has been really testing me. Not like developers or anything, just the game. The game itself has been testing me a little bit because I have been waiting for an indoor map for ages. It would not, as killer, it would not give you one. And I almost posted a void choke video, but I'm like, nuh-uh, we got wastewater. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you the actives, the passive, host stats, a little bit of her backstory, different types of traps, and different types of reactions from players who see the traps. So let's get into it. Host speed is actually pretty average. Her fear radius is decently small, not as small as Idol's, but still okay. Her detection cooldown is on the more normal side, but it's okay. Just her stats in general are pretty normal, ignoring the bus that just left right now. And she's a low difficulty. She is a starter killer, and she has been in the game since early access beta or alpha, whichever one. But yeah, generally, host is just an OG. Not really anything too crazy. For her active ability, so the main thing you will be using, it has an 8-second cooldown on placement, and you can only place have eight of them up at a time, is her ice traps. So it takes 1 second for an ice trap to spawn on the ground when you use this ability, and when a survivor walks over it, and they generally, it depends on the model, but general rule of thumb is that they have to be at least towards the middle of the trap for it to trigger. So keep that in mind when you do this for like trap vaults and stuff. When you are within 32 studs of them, so like a basic terror radius, they will get hit and they will be stunned for pretty much 3 seconds. They can't do anything, they can't move, they can't use abilities in that time frame. But if they trigger the trap and you're not within 32 studs, then it only gets triggered for 1.5 seconds. Her passive is very simple, essentially. So, and okay. Persistence, if you see this, I'm editing right now, my guy. Anyway, ignore that. Her passive is essentially just a weaker version of Boss's crowbar effect. When you down a survivor, they get chilled for 50 seconds. But that only really applies when they get revived after they become chilled. They leave behind a trail and they do generators 15% slower compared to Boss's crowbar down. For when they get revived, they repair gens 20% slower for 80 seconds. Plain and simple. So a lot of the time, you'll end up seeing at least 4 more veteran players. They will just go around and start triggering traps, but I'm gonna go ahead and go over at least my perspective on the different types of traps that can be achieved in this game, and the different types of players going against host in this game. Lego. When it comes to the types of vaults that you can vault, the types of traps that you can place throughout the map, preferably indoor, because if you play host on outdoor maps, you're gonna have an extremely difficult time. I like to call the acronym VEEL, VEEL, vault, entrance or exit, extension, and locker. There are 4 types of traps you can place, and I mean strictly 4. You can really do whatever, but these are the ones that can like actually help you to some extent. V for vault, so any trap near a vault or like a window or any of those things. Entrance/exit, so say if I were to place a trap at a door frame or in any spot that connects one room to another, that would be an entrance or exit trap. Those give you more information, if anything, because 9 times out of 10, you're not really gonna down somebody with entrance exit trap. Extension, So to extend a loop, just extend any loop, basically. And to force the survivor to work around it or to run away. So that trap isn't really going to get used. It's just there to pressure the survivor to transition. And then locker. You will rarely ever do this, but if you meet, like, say, a newer player or just any player in general that camps lockers and you're able to place a trap in time, and they're not an Elijah and just run straight through the trap after they stun, you can end up, when you open the locker and there is a trap that's fully set in front of them, they will get trapped the moment they hit the ground after getting out of that locker, and then you get a free down because of the 3 seconds that they're stuck. Plain and simple. As for types of players you will see, there's another acronym I made. It's just called RIDE. R-I-D-E. R is for runners, just straight up run. I is for investigate. D is for disarm. E is for evacuate. Runners will just simply run away from the trap. They'll either run away from it or run around it. I is for investigate. So either they're telling people on comms where this trap is, or, which I don't know why they would just say that and not disarm it. Or if they're not on comms, they just see it, just go on with their day. Disarm is the players who do nothing but disarm traps around the map. The moment that they know it's a host, they will actively be looking for traps and they'll disable it for their team, which is good. I mean, that's a great counter for host. It will annoy you, yes, but it's Daybreak. You're a trapper killer. You're gonna have people disarm your traps. And then E is for evacuate. So the moment a person, or like this player, sees that trap, they are booking it. They're gone. They don't even want to interact with it. They don't even want to be near it. And your biggest issue out of this acronym would probably be disarmers and evacuators. But I'll also give you a quiz. Which one of them do you believe hurts you or counters you the most? I'll give you a little bit. I'll give you 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you said runners, you're incorrect. If you said investigators, you're incorrect. If you said disarm, you're incorrect. If you even said evacuators, you're incorrect. Every single one of them helps you and hurts you to some extent. So people who simply ignore the trap, it helps you because you can save your traps. But it hurts you because you're not getting information. Disarmers, they help because they reset your trap max amount. So say if you have 8 traps on a map and somebody disarms it, you can place another trap without having your other ones at risk of being taken. That's an upside. Downside is that you're losing traps and you're not there when the people disarm the traps. Evacuators are good because they conserve traps, but they're a downside because they don't give you information. You're kind of catching on. Same thing with runners. If they just run away, you're not getting information. So then, how do you maximize your potential as a host player? I feel like, well, no, let me use better words than I feel. I know that if you are very clever with your trap placements, you're really sneaky, and you're very good at paying attention to survivor movements and different types of survivors and how they play, you'll be perfectly fine. But it also comes down to choice of map as well, because, like I said, outdoor maps, not really that great. They will not help you at all, unless you know that you're like the one and like you're goated. But essentially for that, yeah. As for counters, anybody can counter her if they want to. Not if they want to, but if they know how to play against the host. Character-wise, though, I would honestly say that Elijah counters her the most because of the locker thing. She can counter an Emery. hand as she can. Literally the only people I see not being affected by her kit is Elijah. Any gen rusher, really, at least not to a heavy extent. And definitely just low speeds, period. Anybody below like 7 to 6 speed is like at danger when she's in the game, if they're a really good player. As for who she counters, no, I literally just said that. I'm so sorry. I'm in a loop today. But yeah. And then how do you properly place a trap? You just have to be good with your W keys or whatever. I am a PC player, so basically when you play host with any skin, there's this one issue I'm having with the Y2 site skin right now, where when you place a trap, it changes directions all the time. You have to be fully stopped when you place the trap for that skin, or maybe it just applies to everything and I forget. However, generally when you place a trap, you want to make sure that it's in like, you can put it at a loop to prevent them from looping, like I said with the VEEL acronym. But when you place it at a vault or in a cramped space, you have to make sure that there's no more than maybe one stud of space between every side of the trap. You want to be able to put it in the most cramped space as possible to like, you really want to cramp up space. So in narrow hallways like this one right now that's on the video, or like I said, vault, entrance, exit, or even a locker, you want it to place traps in these tight spaces or in these positions where if a survivor wanted to go through that space, they can't without either risking a health state, getting detected, or dying. Period. And that is literally it with her kit. Literally, it's completely it. What I will say is, in terms of map picks, you want to aim more towards indoor maps. I've been saying this this entire time. Lakeview is okay. Haverhill will be a nightmare for everybody, and they know it, and you better maximize it. Excuse me. What else? I would wastewater by far, and Empire too. If you're really good about it, Empire can do really good for you. I've played host on Empire many times, and yeah, that's basically all for host. And if you want to know her lore, she worked for this shady company called Trem Corp. That is the same corporation or organization that Experiment originated in when it was a little mouse before it got feeded to oblivion and became this giant rat. And they found this thing, or host discovered this thing called Specimen 3205, which could freeze and neutralize cells according to her backstory, but still allow them to function the same, keep the immune system going. And she was really excited about this because she was hoping that she could like cure cancer and all of these things that just generally help people. She knew that this would be a groundbreaking help for the medical field. But Trem Corp did not like that. They completely halted it, seized her from ever doing any more operations in that side of things, and it just shut her down. The only person who really advocated for her, I forget the name, I'd have to look on the wiki again, but it's Persistence. Oh my god. Love you, Persistence, by the way, you're a great guy. Anyway, one day Specimen 3205 escaped containment, and kind of like every other like species out of containment situation, it latched onto host, did exactly what it normally does, freeze and neutralize cells, and just took over her body. And Trem Corp basically went to HELL. And that's how Experiment also got let out. But because host wasn't visiting Experiment, that was the only person that really kept it sane. And by a host getting taken over by the Specimen, and getting taken by the mist in turn, experiment was let loose. So, yeah, she's an OG. What can I say? If you like this, I don't want to be that kind of person, but consider subscribing, consider liking. I like all of these things. If you have any critique, if you have any comments, there's a comment section for that. Just be sane, be civil, please. And yeah, that's it. But the next fan-made chapter is currently in the works. There's probably going to be another killer guide video soon at some point, but I'm just going to let these next few minutes run, and I love y'all. Stay creative. Peace.
This is a certified classic.